Now, Plans for Good Health, brought to you exclusively by UnitedHealthcare.
Open enrollment for healthcare is now underway, and it's an important time for the millions of people enrolled in the coverage. If you need help on deciding what plan is right for you and your family, and what should you be thinking about if you are enrolled in Medicare, then our next guest is here to help. Please help me welcome to the show Christine O'Brien, the Executive Director at UnitedHealthcare of Louisiana and Mississippi. Welcome.
Thanks, Malik. Appreciate you having me this morning.
Thanks so much for being here. Healthcare coverage is something we all need. And before we talk about the different options, first let's explain what open enrollment is. What can you tell us?
So open enrollment is the period of time that most people have to review their benefits and select the benefits for the upcoming year. So it's very important that people take the time to do that and make sure that they're not missing those deadlines. So for the many people get coverage different ways. So it's important to know where your coverage is coming from and what your open enrollment period is.
So true, and there are so many different options for people. There's three that we want to talk about this morning. When can people enroll for health insurance? Let's start with the employee-provided coverage.
So if you get coverage through the company that you work for, through the company that your spouse works for, most of the time that open enrollment period is about a 2 to 3 week period. Most of the companies that we work with at UnitedHealthcare have their open enrollment period at sometime between September and December.
Very interesting. Now, as you all can see on your screen right here, today is October 15th. Medicare enrollment starts today. What is some important information to know about that?
Yes, so Medicare enrollment starts October 15th through December 7th with People's Health. They have actually a center that if you want to walk in to talk to someone, you can certainly do that at our new center, which is located in Metairie on Vets and Causeway. So it'll be a great way for people who have Medicare coverage to understand what coverage they have and to select their open enrollment information.
Great information there. And this last one right here, Louisiana Exchange. I've never heard of that before. What is that?
Yeah, so that's essentially if you're getting coverage through what a lot of people call Obamacare or through the individual exchange, Louisiana individual exchange coverage. And that actually starts November 1st and goes through January 15th this year. It does vary by state, but in Louisiana, those are the dates.
Write those dates down or take a picture of your screens right now. Now, I'm curious, like I said, there are so many different options out there. What are some tips you can offer us this morning on how people can pick the right plan and save a little bit of money?
Yeah, so this is, like I said, a very important time of year, especially now with COVID and, a lot of healthcare expenses that people are facing. The most important thing that people can do is understand their options, know what they have today, and know what's available to them in the future. The most important thing is to not just to look at the bottom line. Don't just look at the premium or the cost that you have to pay out of your paycheck or pay month to month. It's important that you understand the true amount of coverage that you're getting. What's your deductible? What's your copayment? What's your coinsurance? Who's in the network that you can seek coverage from? All of those options are very important that you make sure that you understand.
That is so true, especially when it comes to the doctors that are in your network, because I have been going to doctors sometimes and they're like, oh, you're not covered under our network. I'm like, oh my goodness. And as you can see on your screen, there's some other options that we have here. I want to talk about specifically the prescription benefits. When it comes to people on Medicare, there's something you want to remind people.
Yes, so if you're on an original Medicare plan, they generally don't cover prescription coverage. So it's important that you look into Part D coverage, or you look into maybe a Medicare Advantage plan like People's Health that includes prescription coverage on there. So it's important that you know what your prescription benefits are. And again, it goes back to knowing if there's a deductible or a copay, or if there may be some lower cost options through generic type drugs as well.
So true. And there's a few more things we want to remind people when learning to pick the right plan. Wellness programs is something you also want to look at. You all have something cool called UnitedHealthcare Motion. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so Motion is actually a plan where our members can receive a benefit of up to $1,000 for moving. So it's walking, running, biking, those type of things where they actually can earn $1,000 in incentives by doing those type of things. In addition to that, we just recently announced a partnership with Peloton with all of our fully insured members on our employer covered plans would have a full year membership to the Peloton app. So you don't need the bike or any of the other things. It's just the app with classes that people would be able to have for a year for free. And in addition to that, we just announced a partnership with Apple Fitness Plus. So if you have an Apple Watch and you're using the Apple Fitness Plus, you'll be able to have access to that at no cost for a year. So it's really
so many
important.
different options, and
Yeah.
I think it's so great. And what's cool is that you all have some articles and some videos on your website if people are wanting to learn more about you all's benefits. If you want more information about that, head over to uhcopenenrollment.com. Christine, thank you for being here. We'll be right back.
Thanks, Malik.